Hi everyone, welcome to video 3 of the Argo 2020 Quick Start Guide video series. In this video we'll be discussing how to add other users to your sponsor organization. There are a couple of ways to do this, and we're going to start with the way that will be the fastest for the folks that you want to add to your organization to be able to access the system. And that is for the sponsor administrator to add the users to the organization. So to do that, you'll find the Argo 2020 login page that's detailed in the first video in this series. And you'll need to have created your sponsor organization and your sponsor administrator account, which is detailed in the second video in this series. Once those things are done, you can come to the Argo 2020 login page, and you can enter the information for the account that you set up, and this should log you into the system as a sponsor administrator. From the home screen here, you'll know that you're a sponsor administrator because your security privilege will be detailed just under your name. Okay. You'll also see the View Available Opportunities option. We'll get to that in future videos in this series, but for now, what we're looking for is the link that says Organization right here. We're going to click that link, and this will show us the profile information for our sample sponsor organization. Now, the reason that we don't want a whole bunch of administrators in a sponsor organization is because anyone that has administrator privileges within your organization can come into this profile and edit the details. These details that you fill in will populate your application forms and reports and various things throughout the life cycle of applications in this new Argo 2020 system. So this information will need to be correct, and you'll want to make sure that you control who can edit it, because if they edit it incorrectly, it will incorrectly populate other forms that are required to manage grants. From this screen, we're going to select Organization Members. And now we'll see all of the members that are currently in our organization, right? From here, we can do a lot of things. We can change the role of a person in our organization, okay? To do so, for this new member, let's say I want to make them a sponsor viewer, I would highlight their role, and I would click the Save button in the top right-hand corner of the screen. That allows me to change their privileges. But in this video, we're primarily focused on adding a new member to our user organization. So we're going to click the button that says Add Members. Now from here, we do not want to click the search button and search for people that are in other organizations, because the system is fairly new and chances are we aren't going to find the person that we want to add because they haven't set a user account up yet. So in this case, we're going to click New Member. When we click New Member, it may pre-populate some of the fields here. We'll have to get rid of those. We'll fill in the information here. In this case, there's a good chance that the email that populates here might have your sponsor organization's tag on it already. Okay? For this person, I'm going to call them newest member. I'm going to create a password for them. As the administrator, it'll be important that you let them know what this password is, because the first time that they log into the system, they're going to need to know the password you've created for them, and then they'll be forced to change it after that point. For the date active, we'll leave it as today, and then we're going to select a role for them. Now this is important. You want to probably by default select the sponsor staff role for most of the people that you add to your organization. Now, even though this means that they can't generate a grant application, you can add anyone in your sponsor organization to an application in whatever role that they need on that application, and it doesn't change their role in your sponsor organization. So someone on my staff could be a project manager who is handling my 2020 co-op grant application, and I want to give them full authority on that application to do what they need to do. We'll preview in a future video in this series how to add somebody to the application as an administrator, but they don't actually have to be an administrator in my organization to be an administrator on that application. So for now, we're going to choose the sponsor staff role. I can select to change the address information for the person that's listed here, or I can leave it. By default, it will populate with the information that's tied to the organization. Okay, so for now, I've filled in all of my required fields, and I'm ready to click the Save and Add to Organization button here. Once I've done that, if there are no errors on the page, I'll get this information here that says the information has been saved. In addition, when I look at my organization, I'll see that I have added newest member to the organization in the role of sponsor staff. Okay? From here on out, any applications that I create, they'll be added to automatically. So for now, they've been added to my sponsor organization and they can start working right away. This is the quickest way to add somebody to a sponsor organization because you, as the sponsor administrator, have already verified that you want them to be part of your organization. Now we'll look at method 2. This is not a recommended method, but it is possible to use this method if you don't have a sponsor administrator or if you don't have immediate access to them. So from the login screen for Argo 2020, if you don't log in as an administrator and add somebody to your organization, the user who wants an account can click on New User. At this time, I'll come in and enter some information. I'll create a password. Now, from the pull-down menu, I'll have to select the organization that I want to join, and I'll have to request a role in that organization. I can then select whether or not I want to use the organization's contact information. In this case, I'll say yes, but if I say no, then I'd need to fill in all of the required fields here. When this area has all required fields complete, I can click Save. At this point, the request will be submitted to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Recreation Grant staff, and it will be reviewed. Now, the reason that you probably don't want to use this method to add a user to your organization is because our staff will process the request, but in order to verify it, we will have to reach out to the sponsor organization's administrator to verify that, in fact, you do want this new user to be added to your organization. As you can imagine, this could take a fair amount of time, back and forth in emails. So if you need somebody to begin working quickly on an application, it's best to use the first method in this video.